Hi, y'all. What's up? I'm here. Don't worry. Don't worry. Dominique, aka That Therapist. For those of you that do not know, I am the lead clinician and CEO for a group practice known as Yellowbird Counseling, based here in Alabama, but we also service Florida, Louisiana, and Mississippi. So Alabama, Florida, Louisiana, Mississippi, we see clients in all them states. I am so sorry to those of you that come regularly and I'm an hour late, but somehow StreamYard disconnected from, I don't know, now my phone's about to die. Somehow StreamYard disconnected and I couldn't, it was a whole thing. I had to figure out how to reconnect it. It was logged into some Facebook account that I probably made when I was like 20 to maybe spy on someone. I don't know. I don't even know. So I had to figure out, it was weird. But anyways, I'm here now. I figured it out by myself. And so I'm here. But yes, I do apologize. Thank you for those of you watching on the replay. You have no idea what I'm talking about because you can watch it on demand. But yes. So anywho, that's what happened. I'm here now. So sorry. But yes, as we close out Mental Health Awareness Month, I wanted to talk about what it means to be mentally weak and have your mental health in the dark. Okay, so that starts with the very thing that Yellowbird tries to combat on a weekly basis, which is the stigma that surrounds mental health, mental wellness, mental illness, medications, terminologies. Like we literally stand on debunking myths and breaking the stigma that surrounds mental health and wellness that continues to keep people from getting the care that they need. More specifically in the Black community, but yeah, that's what we do. So we discuss topics that everybody can relate to and tie it back to how we can all benefit from having a therapist, whether that's therapy for therapy or whether that's therapy for counseling, which counseling is more like life coaching that your insurance can pay for. And then therapy is what you would get if you have a mental illness that you need a treatment plan for. So but they can see both. So I see people that have mental illness. I also see people that don't have mental illness, that have a mental illness and people that don't. And I do, similar work with both, but the things that we focus on are just a tad bit different. That's it. So yeah, I wanted to talk through some of those myths. I wanted to answer any questions. I wanted to debunk some myths that I know that are out there. And the ones that I found aren't even the ones that I was thinking of originally, because of course I can think of a few off the top of my head that I've heard people say that I'm just like, it's not true. So let's start with those, because I feel like those will be the ones that people will most be able to relate to, because I've actually heard real people say this. Some of these other ones, I'm like, do people really think that? We'll look at those too, but let's start with the big ones, okay? So the biggest one is, if I go see a therapist, then that means that I am quote unquote crazy. Well, let me debunk that myth for you. If you look at the Merriam-Webster dictionary term or definition for crazy, it literally means deranged. It literally means like, okay, if you've ever seen Shutter Island, like deranged, like people that come see me on an outpatient basis are not at all deranged. If you were deranged, you would know it because you'd be in an institution of some kind. So if you're not, or like mad is what they say, like mad. I think that's more maybe a UK way to say crazy maybe. But it literally means like you're just like therapy, you're beyond therapy. Basically, therapy is not what you would come to if you were crazy. You would literally probably, for the most part, being maintained by bunch of antipsychotics, not antidepressants, but antipsychotics, which are different. Okay, so no. So if you come see me on an outpatient basis, you are not crazy. Okay, that's not what you are. I would not be able to help you in an outpatient setting if you were crazy. Okay, so there's that. Another thing that people think, more religious wise, they're thinking, oh my gosh, if I go to therapy, then that means I don't believe in God. And, that's against the Bible. People love saying what's against the Bible. Well, 5 minutes ago, they just did something that was against the Bible. But then they want to talk about 5 minutes later, something that's not going against the Bible. Actually is good for you. Like, it's just, I'm trying to understand. And I'm like, people literally just say whatever the majority has told them to say. People, for the most part, have a difficult time thinking on their own and assessing things on their own. So they're just going to believe what someone said because of whatever that person's position is. And so if you have a pastor that you've known since you was born and he christened you and baptized you and married you and first communion you and all that, and he says if you go to therapy, that's more than likely you're probably going to believe him, because he has such a high status in your life, which is terrible and sad. I hope that priests and preachers and congregation leaders are not out here saying that type of thing, because one, it's 2022. Like, who's still saying that? And to a mass group of people. And secondly, the Bible literally talks about seeking counsel from people, seeking guidance, like that. Like, it's like, definitely that's something you should do from the appropriate people. So I always say, when you are praying for help and guidance in a situation, biblically, God was known to like work through people. So this is the present day. When you pray for help, God sends you a therapist as him working through the therapist. So for those of you that are, religious, then that is literally from a what would the most proper term be? Colonial Christian, Euro, whatever Christian. Okay. From that perspective, that is me explaining, debunking that myth for you. You can pray, and the answer to your prayer for help and guidance in your life, or if you're dealing with a struggle mentally, you will probably be put in touch with or discover a therapist. And that would be God's answer to your prayers. This person will help guide you through this trial that you're going through in a personified form. So, he did that in the Bible, right? So why is it any different today? Like, God worked through people all the time in the Bible. So why is that different now? I don't know. Just ask yourself that question. But no. If you you can come see a therapist and still be just as Christian as you want to be. I even got some Christian therapists, if that's what you like. I got them, and they will help you from a Christian perspective if that is what you need, want, and desire. So if you're like, hey, I need to, people will call and they're like, do you have any therapists? Like, do y'all do Christian therapy is what they ask, which no, we don't do Christian therapy for two reasons. Christian therapy is not a credentialed form of psychotherapy. Like, people can be trained in it, but it's not anything that I could bill your insurance for. So people don't know that. But do we have therapists that practice Christianity and also provide therapy that can talk to you from that perspective? Yes, we do. Yes, we do. So yes. And so there you go. You have therapists that are Christian, okay, that believe in the same thing that you do. And if you need to be connected with them, you can ask me. I will connect you with them. Okay. But so that's myth number 2. The first one being that you're crazy if you see a therapist. The second one being that it's not Christian or whatever to go to therapy, or you can't go to therapy. All you need to do is pray. Well, when you're praying, it's like that man in the boat. Like, y'all know about the man in the boat, right? So he prayed to God for help when he was in the water, in some massive water. I don't remember the specifics, but the theme of the story, okay? And so then this boat comes by and says, hey, you can get in my boat. And then the guy in the water was like, no, I prayed. God's going to answer my prayer. So then the water keeps rising. Another boat comes by, and then he says, no, I'm waiting. God's going to help me answer my prayer. So the second boat goes. Third boat comes, and then I think he passes up the third boat. He drowns, dies, goes to heaven, asks God, why didn't you sin? Why didn't you answer my prayer? And God's all like, I sent 3 boats. So the person drowned and died because they wouldn't take the help that God was sending them, because they expected for it to be some sort of cloud parting experience, I guess, or some bellowing voice from the clouds. And I don't even yes, there are instances of that. And I'm only referencing the Bible for people that believe what the Bible says. That's who I'm talking to right now, because that is a major myth. So I do have to address them. But if you don't believe in the Bible, hey, don't get mad at me, because I'm not saying you got to believe in the Bible. I'm just talking to the people that do. Okay. So yeah, if you look throughout the Bible in ways that God would send help, it would be through others. Okay. So same thing, present day. You know what I'm saying? Same thing. So therapists literally are like the hands and feet for that area of help, for, that level of care. So there you go. So another thing would be that, and this kind of gets into some of the myths that I found, but that therapists, all you do is come sit and talk to them. No. You use talking as a way to communicate, because people have said to me, little less now, but people have said, I don't know what talking to somebody, what therapist gonna do for me? I can go talk to my friends. Well, yeah, but that's not what therapy is. We use talking to communicate, just like when you go to the doctor and the dentist, you are using communication to talk back and forth. But that's all it is. It's just communication to talk back and forth, and to talk through actual strategies, actual measures that you and the therapist will take to help you overcome your hurdle. So yes, we use talking to communicate, but we also use nonverbal communication as well. There's a lot of other ways to communicate, but talking is the primary thing. If you're going to a therapist and all you do is talk, literally, if all you're doing is just talking, and the therapist is not talking back, you might want to try another. You might want to try another. Therapy is very hands-on and engaging work. It's not just talking. No, talking is just how we communicate. And that's only if we're doing cognitive behavioral therapy. If I'm doing EMDR, It's not too much talking in that therapy, and that's a trauma therapy. So there is talking, but not dialogue in EMDR therapy, because that's a more intensified form of therapy that for people that have experienced trauma that they need to overcome. So we're doing more bilateral brain stimulation than we are talking. So yeah. That's a myth. That's not all you gonna do. And if it is all you're doing, you need to find another therapist. Okay. Not saying that there aren't some times where the client has so much they need to say that they do the majority of the talking. But at some point, even with that, the therapist should be helping them figure out what to do with the information that they just put out. It's not you just coming and putting out information and we're like, see you next week. That's not therapy. Okay. So if that's what you saw on TV, it's wrong. And if you've been to a therapist that's all that happens, then that's wrong. They need to be guiding that information somehow. That's why there's parameters on how to do therapy and what settings are appropriate to do therapy in, because you have to account for people's safety as they unearth things. So yeah, no, it's more involved than just talking. So nope, not true. So people who seek therapy are weak mentally or crazy. We already addressed the crazy things, so I'm not going to do that. But people that seek therapy are weak-minded. Actually, in all actuality, if you don't seek therapy, you're weak-minded. So I'm going to explain that and break it down, okay? We all need help. From a therapy perspective, visualize yourself. If you're looking at yourself, the front of yourself, and there's no mirror available right now, you can see only so much of yourself, maybe about 60% of your body, but there's a back that you have, okay? There is the backside of yourself. And if no one ever tells you, you'll never know. Like, I'm here by myself, Mr. Cardero. Mr. Carter can't speak English, even though sometimes in my mind, I think that would be super cute if he could. But he can't talk. So if there's something on my back, he can't tell me. I can always feel around, but I might not feel it. I need somebody to come and say, hey, you have something on the back of your shirt, and here's how to get it out. That is what a therapist does. They help you see the parts of yourself that you don't see that are affecting you. Okay? Affecting you in a negative way, or the parts of your, like the things that you wouldn't have considered. They help you see that as a way to improve the issue that you're having in your life. It could be relationship, it could be job, it could be family, it could be finances, it could be actual mental illness. Like, I don't understand why I can't get out of the bed. Like, I literally can't make myself get out of the bed. I'm having these crying spells. I cannot stop crying. Like, we help with things like that too. But most of the stuff is like transitioning from jobs, transitioning from living, transitioning from high school to college, or, different stages of human existence that can be very tough and difficult for all of us. I tell parents, right when your kid hits adolescence, go on ahead and get them a therapist, even if they haven't said anything to you about needing anything, because the thing that kids are really good at is masking. They are, and parents will never know. And people say, I know my kid. Okay, you know your kid to an extent, but you don't know the parts of them that developed when you weren't around. Okay, so they need a safe space to be able to process those very big things. Like, for instance, if they don't feel that they're straight and they think that they like the same sex or both sexes or all sexes, I'll say that. All right. Or if they are using drugs that they've been introduced to, or if they are not like having trouble in school for whatever reason. You know what I'm saying? Some things that kids may not feel comfortable to fully disclose to parents, or they don't know how to disclose it to their parents. Therapy is good for that. And middle school is a rough time from about 10 to 14. Things are weird for human existence, okay? So, and parents don't always know how to, because maybe they didn't have a positive experience during that time. So maybe they don't know how to appropriately help the child through that from a parent perspective. So therapy is necessary, okay? But yeah, no. You're shorting yourself if you're not going to see a therapist, because literally I have had clients tell me ever since starting therapy, because of just the different directions and perspectives they've developed in their life, their other situations in their life have gotten better. Like financially, they have made more money because they know, like, they were able to consider and see things and execute goals with the help of their therapist that put them in a better financial position, okay? Or save their marriage, or make new friends, or know that they maybe don't need to stay in that marriage if that's appropriate for that relationship. You know what I'm saying? But all the outcomes that have come from being in therapy, for my clients, they're like, I need to stay in therapy. It has been that life-changing for me, and it has been so successful and help give me help clear my head so much that I'm gonna just keep going. And I'm like, cool, you know, you might not need to come every week, but maybe you want to check in with me once a month because you're doing real well and you're very stable, and that's fine, you know? And when I say stable, I don't mean mentally stable. I mean, like, things are calm in your life. There is stability in your life. Because I know when I say stable, people, I'm mentally unstable. No, I'm talking about your life circumstances are stable for you, okay? Or you may feel mentally stable in a chaotic environment. I also have clients like that. Therapy has helped them to the point where maybe there is instability around them, but they're able to navigate it like it's not a bother to them because therapy. Okay, so there is that. So you're not mentally weak if you go to therapy. You're actually mentally strong, because therapy is hard. All right, I need to make sure it says therapy is hard AF, because it really is. It's not no easy thing. It's not for the faint at heart, because you gotta work on yourself. And some people don't like looking at themselves, taking accountability, communicating, being honest. A lot of people don't like that. They rather just lie their way through life and not take accountability or responsibility for their actions or how they treat people. They just want to move through life like that, and that's easy. And that's cool if that's the level of integrity that you're at. Mm-hmm. So let's move forward. Therapists take notes and you lie on a couch. So, like, while there is probably the option, and a lot of us therapists have couches because of that, you know, therapy staple, gotta have a couch. But it's more of a joke. You don't have to lay on the couch. You can if you want to, but it's not like that's all we're doing is you laying on a couch. Now, since I work virtual, most of my clients aren't laying on any couch. They're sitting somewhere that's not a couch. but no, you know, but even if that is like you did lay on a couch, what would be the problem with that? Psycho's forcing you to lay on the couch. If you lay on a couch in therapy, and maybe, okay, so maybe with psycho with like a psychoanalytic approach, psychoanalysis, I think they may have you lay down on a couch. I don't practice psychoanalysis though, or the Freudian. But I have been to a therapist's office that really did work in psychodynamics and or psychoanalytics. Just depends on what time period you're talking about, pretty much. And he did have this little couch with like a little like medical paper over it, like that they'll put on the table when you go to the doctor. And so maybe that is a thing for them. But most of the time you can sit on the couch. You don't have to. I mean, you can even stand up and walk around if you need to. It's whatever you need, but that's not all it is. And the couch is definitely not the focal point of the therapy or any activity on the couch. And yes, your therapist does take notes, but you kind of want them to take notes so they can keep up with your progress and remember like things that y'all are supposed to be referring back to between sessions. But that's not all they're doing. There's more than just that. But, it's just like if you go to the doctor and they pull your chart out and make notes in your chart. Same thing. You want us to take some sort of note, okay? Because in this field, if it's not documented, it didn't happen. But your therapists also have to be trained in how to write notes, which is one of the things that they learn in school. So, yes, but that's not all it is. Just like it's not just talking, it's not laying on a couch and me sitting behind a desk taking notes. It's not just that either. Let's see. Therapists and clients become best friends. So that's not true. They do have a very close dynamic in the relationship because people are sharing very vulnerable things with their therapist, and their therapist has to be, accountable and hold that stuff, dear and important. But they're not best friends. Like, they're not hanging out outside the session. They're not calling each other. The therapist should not be getting any type of assistance from the client, any type of assistance from the client that's not helpful to the client. Okay. So, some therapists, like if their client has some sort of something they sell, maybe something that's, relatively inexpensive, they may, get that or whatever. But outside of that therapy, like therapists should not be asking their clients for advice. Therapists should not be calling their clients at all other than to talk about therapy related things. You know what I'm saying? But no, we're not like the boundaries we have to maintain don't allow us to be best friends, but we do, are close, very close, because, clients share their most intimate details of their life with us. So yeah, we're close, but we're not friends. It's a one-sided relationship. It's like me giving and not receiving. So that's yeah. Other than payment for the session, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, yeah. That's it. That's the extent. See, therapy is, we already talked about that. Therapy is not mostly talking. Therapists have ready-made solutions. No, that's not true. I've been practicing for 10 years and I don't have sometimes a lot, like because I've been practicing so long, I have a lot of things like I can get places a little faster than, if I was 2 years in the game. But I don't just have all these ready-made solutions that fits every type of problem that I might encounter. It's not like that. That's why we have to have continued education credits and, continue to learn, because we don't have just these ready-made solutions. And there has been several times where I'm doing just as much thinking as the client to get to some resolve. Like, I'm like, okay, well, because what you guys may not remember or realize, when you go to like a doctor, dentist, or therapist, lawyer, accountant, or maybe not an accountant, maybe, yeah, an accountant. I don't know, because I'm not an accountant, but fields that are like human focused or ever growing, we say we're practicing. Okay. We're practicing. So while we have the knowledge and expertise to help and license, which we have to have a level of expertise to help to be licensed, but we definitely don't know everything. We don't know everything. And we have to continuously get credits to learn more because we just don't know everything. That's not even realistic. Your doctor doesn't know everything. Your brain surgeon doesn't know everything. Your chemotherapist doesn't know everything. Your dentist doesn't know everything. None of us know everything. That's why we're practicing. Okay. Therapy blames clients' problems on their upbringing. I'm like, no, it's not necessarily about blame, but your experiences do shape you. So good and bad experiences, they shape you. So it's not blame, but there's some of my clients I'm like, let's just not use the word blame. Let's just take that word out because it's not even about fault or blame. It's just the experience shaped you in this direction. Okay. So, and whether it's good or whether it's bad. All right. So no, therapists don't blame. They just attribute origin to. All right. So it's not like, well, it's because you was like this and that blah, blah, blah. They may say, as a result of you being bullied, as a result of you being abused verbally, then you have learned to handle those situations or situations that look like them in these ways. So you see how that's more of just attributing origin and not me saying, it's because your daddy wasn't around. No, that's not how that goes. All right, so no blame, just attributing of origin to. Let's see. Therapists give, what do we give? I don't know what that says. I wrote kind of sloppy. We'll come back to that one. So problems are solved within 1 to 2 sessions. No, that's very rare. Now, maybe if it's an EMDR session, no, not even then. I'm not even going to say that. Nope. It's a lot faster. They are, we could count the number of sessions you would need with EMDR, but with most therapy, no, we can't. And it only would be for one specific thing, really. So no, I don't know if there's a therapist out there that is fixing people, which is also another myth that we fix people, but if there's a therapist out there fixing people in 1 to 2 sessions, it's like, $500 a session. I'll do it. Let me know who they are. Let me check it out. Let me see. I'll go for you. I'll volunteer myself as tribute. Okay. If there is someone out there fixing folk in 2 sessions, that's a myth. It's going to take more than that. And people they'll ask me when they call, they'll say, about how many sessions do you think I need? And I'm like, I can't say. I haven't done any type of assessment on you. And they'll say, how long does it usually take our people in therapy? There is not a number for that either, because I've been booked with the same clients for 2 years. And I ask my clients, they're like, man, your books are already filled. And I haven't really taken any new people. So, and it's not because I'm working with crazy people. I'm working with really emotionally intelligent people. They're like, no, I need this as part of my life. So they're like, I'm going to keep coming. So I can tell people, the only thing I really feel comfortable is saying, in general, this is how long it takes before I see progress for my own clients. I can't really, I can say that for my other therapist because I just did for one of them, but that's only because I do supervision with them. So I know kind of like what kind of progress their clients are making, and we talk. So I'm like, okay, in general for this person, it's about this much time before you start seeing progress. That's all I can say. I can't say how many sessions you'll need, none of that. Because I hate to tell you only need 13 and then it's like, but we really needed 14. You know what I'm saying? So no, I don't want people to get a number in their head and think they're supposed to be done at some done time, you know? No. They're done when the problems that we discover or the obstacles that they have there has been resolved. That's when you're done. For you, not necessarily for the external variables, because there's nothing we can do about that. But if you're able to accept that to the utmost and it doesn't affect you or cause you distress, or you can cope with the distress that it can cause you, then, you know, that's different. I think I tried to shorthand write something because it literally looks like I said therapists give I don't know. All right, so forget that one. Clients feel immediately better after each session. No, it would be awful, like, for me to just say that. Is that my goal for every session? Is that I bring relief to help clients find relief? Yes. And for the most part, that is what happened. Clients feel relieved after their session. But to say that a client will always feel immediately better about everything after their session, that's not true. That's a myth. But I can say for me personally, for the most part, there are very few times that clients haven't gotten some level of relief. And it's because of something like someone had just passed away. And that's, you know, to get relief from immediately after a session for that, unless you're doing EMDR again, is not fair to say. Because yes, you can come to therapy and have somewhere to talk and share that pain with, which is good because it does help your processing happen quicker. You might not feel better if somebody important to you just passed and then you go to therapy. You might not feel immediately better. So yeah, those are the times that I can remember that clients didn't feel immediately better after the session. But to say to say if you go to therapy, you're going to feel immediately better after each session. No, I can't say that. I'm just saying in my own anecdotal experience, as the experience I have with my clients. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Then some other things that people really struggle with is their family, like telling their family and friends, because their family and friends have these myths that they think, and they're like, well, why do you need therapy? Like, because they lack education about what therapy actually is. So then, you know, people are scared about what people will think about them. But I'm telling you, if someone gives you flack about coming to therapy, they are not in a position to be talking about nobody. Because remember when I was talking about weak-minded earlier? That's all I got to say about that. Y'all remember what I said about what it means to be weak-minded earlier? Remember what I said? All right. Cool. Good. We're glad we're on the same page. So yeah, just kind of debunking some of those myths, and believing or staying in these thought processes is really keeping your mental health in the dark and putting you in a position to be mentally weak. So even if you're going only once a month or even as needed, it's still good to have a therapist on your speed dial. Sharing my age with the speed dial. But so all that to say, we all benefit. I tell y'all all the time, I got 3 therapists. I got my regular weekly talk therapist, I got my EMDR therapist, and I got massage therapist. So yeah, I'm pretty much doing bi-weekly now with all of those, but I'm still doing bi-weekly. Well, with the EMDR, I haven't had any because I've worked through most of the trauma that I've been through because I started seeing my EMDR therapist like, I don't know, like 3 years ago, something like that, before the pandemic started, right before the pandemic. So I don't have to see her quite as much because we've worked through a lot of things that, so I don't have a lot of trauma responses that I had because I worked through them with her. So now I can just go to a talk therapist. She's not just a talk therapist. She's a cognitive behavioral therapist. Okay. So yes. Questions, comments, concerns. Please share this live. Please share it. Because again, as your contribution to Mental Health Awareness Month, you can make people aware of their mental health. Okay. So yeah, please share the live. And then you've contributed and you are doing things that productive members of society do. So good. But yes, we're probably going to go back to doing lives on Thursdays because originally we do them on Thursdays at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. This month we did them on Wednesdays to just try to switch it up a bit and see. But I'm probably going to go back to Thursdays starting next month. So you'll be able to catch us Thursdays at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, which is 9 p.m. Eastern, which is 6 p.m. Pacific, unless something crazy happens that delays me, like it did tonight. I literally could not log on. It was crazy. That is when you can expect us, okay? And if you're on the newsletter, you know exactly what we'll be talking about each week. And you'll know when I do the $100 Cash App giveaways. So you'll know when those happen too, so that you can be eligible to win those. So go to yellowbirdcounseling.com and you will be able to register for the newsletter. And then, of course, if you need any services and like couples counseling, individual, family groups. We even have a group this weekend for African American men and just a support group to help them work through cope with the experience of being a Black man in America. All right, that's a thing. So if there is a chance we may do it as a live instead of a group, but we'll see. We'll see. And you can text the word, if you want to know what I'm going to do, you can text the word black to, what's the number? I don't know the number by heart. You can text the word black to 205-964-5201. Again, that's 205-964-5201. All right, you can text that to the word black to that number and you will get details about the group. Oh dang, what happened? Man. So the live that I was doing on Instagram went off super freaking cray. Wait a minute, it says I'm still live. Why does it say that? Let me see. It says I'm live. Oh, am I live? It says I'm live. No, I'm not. But it says I'm in the live now. It's crazy. Weird. I don't know. Super weird. A glitch. Okay. Anywho, yes. So text that and you can get more details about the African American male support group that we're going to have this Saturday at 11 a.m. It will be a virtual group. It is free. So if you or someone you know is interested, text the word black to that number that I just gave you, and then you'll get all the details to be in the know about the group. Yeah. So definitely, I will see you next week. Thank y'all so much for all your support. Thank y'all for bearing with me too. Thank you for those of you that are watching on the replay, and thank you to those of you that shared, because that's super noble of you and definitely going to aid in the effort to break the stigma that surrounds mental health and debunk these myths that people believe that keep them in the dark, keep them in the deficit, and keep them mentally weak. All right, talk to y'all later.